Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on CrossFit Garage. I am your host, Andy McCann. I am here with Sue Becker. We are going to talk some bread and some other fun, nutritious facts. You know, here we want to help you build a firm foundation in fitness, food, and finances. So today is about food. One thing I've told you guys before is know your food source and try to eat healthy, and drive-through is entertainment, and she probably shouldn't do it. Sue and her family have created an awesome opportunity for you guys here in Woodstock.
Yes.
So if you're at our gym, you literally can just drive north of Woodstock and get all this delicious, nutritious, and healthy, healthful supplies and food. So you guys are going to love this. Sue's going to share her story and give you some tips on what you can do to have a better life at home with your nutrition.
Yep.
Cool. So how did you guys end up with this whole idea of bread Beckers? Where did this come from?
It goes way back to 1991, actually maybe even before that. So I graduated from the University of Georgia, go Dogs, national champions, back to back, going for a three-peat. Just got to put that in there. Anyway, graduated in food science a long, long time ago. But I loved biochemistry, physiology. I actually went to UGA as a pre-med student, decided that's not what I wanted to do, but I wanted to help people. You know, I wanted to save the world, heal the world. And I loved physiology. I loved studying the body, how it worked. It just fascinated me. And but anyway, realized at Georgia that was not the type of, I didn't want to be in school that long, and it was not the type of grueling profession that I wanted after graduation. I knew I wanted to be a wife and a mother, and I'm not saying you can't do that and be a doctor. There's plenty of people doing that, but I knew that my core values was I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom with my children. So met my husband, Brad, at the University of Georgia, and we got married there our senior year, and then after graduation, I worked for Kraft Foods as a microbiologist for almost 5 years before I had my first child. So, but even after graduation, I laugh sometimes and say, I think I'm a better student now than I ever was in school. Or,
yeah, because it's interesting.
Well, you study what you want to study.
Right.
So even after graduation, I continued to study biochemistry, physiology, and I loved studying the body and what it needed and the nutritional things that it needed, the vitamins, minerals, whatever. And and I always kind of came at things with the idea that if something's not working in my body, it's not getting something that it needs. And I know that may be a slight bit oversimplifying, but that's where we should start anyway. Right. Kind of like if our car sputters and dies and doesn't, we coast off the road, the first thing we look at is the gas tank.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. Look at your gas tank first. What is my body not getting if something's going wrong? So I studied the works of all kinds of people. I fed my family healthy food, believed in eating real food. We weren't perfect by any means, still aren't, and most people aren't perfect, but I ate real food. I grew up Southern, so I cooked, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and we just ate real food for the most part. So I clipped along, and feeding my family healthy was important. But in 1991, I was introduced to a healthy eating concept that radically changed my whole entire life. More than just my health, it is now our business and our passion. I subscribed to a journal that was entitled How to Greatly Reduce the Risk of Common Diseases. In that journal, the history of white flour was presented, all the processing that came about in the early 1900s to sift the bran and germ away, the most nutritious part of the grain, leaving us with white flour. The rest of the journal was a short, brief discussion on common diseases that plague Americans and how it was directly related to the commercially processed white flour that had come on the scene in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
And I learned that prior to the 1900s, most of the bread consumed in this country was made at home. The grain was milled at home.
Right.
But once they discovered that if they sifted the nutritious bran and germ away that was full of vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, fiber, and the germ that has all the oils in it, if they sifted those away, the flour wouldn't spoil. So it was considered a wonderful discovery and invention because now we have prevented this flour from spoiling. So reading this information as a food scientist, which is not nutrition, it's the study of food processing, I'm like, how did I miss this? Well, I'll tell you how, because as a food scientist, when I would read on a label of bread or flour or whatever, the word enriched, I thought we are doing, the food industry
Right.
is doing us a favor by putting these extra nutrients in there.
It does sound like that word, enriched. Yes.
That's
I mean,
what
that's
it should
exactly
mean.
it. Yeah.
Yep. What I learned in this information was that for the 35 to 40 vitamins, minerals, nutrients, phytochemicals, who knows how many are really there that they haven't even identified yet, they only put 4 back in the beginning. 50 years later, they added a 5th, folic acid, to prevent the diseases that had now become epidemic in our country.
Interesting.
They couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. They thought these might have been infectious diseases, but they eventually traced it to the new white flour on the market and the missing B vitamins in particular. So they went to the millers, said, you got to put these back in. The millers are like, yeah, that won't happen because we're selling the brand in German as cattle feed over here as byproducts, and so we got these two businesses.
Where I got more markets.
So finally, the government steps in and mandates that they had to enrich the flour with the 3 B vitamins and iron to prevent beriberi, pellagra, and anemia. And then 50 years later, rising incidence of birth defects, they're like, okay, you got to put folic acid back in.
Interesting.
This blew me away.
Right.
And I'm like, how come with all my studies, I didn't make this connection? I had read, yes, whole wheat flour is better, and I was putting, bean flour in there to increase the protein content, but the store-bought stuff was nasty. Yeah. I mean, when I tried to bake with it, it was like, I had to add some white flour. I maybe used half and half. So I kind of knew, but I didn't know there was this world over here that would literally changed my life.
Oh, you have changed our lives with your world. So we've been in your world since 2002.
Yeah,
so
well,
guys, our kids have eaten here their whole life.
Yeah.
And they don't know any different. Actually, 2 of them went to college and they're like, Dad, we
gotta have bread.
Yeah. Oh man. Evan's on the at UGA, so go Dogs. I'm a yellow jacket, but they don't really have a team of anything, so they just kick people out. But he had the all-you-can-eat plan at the dining hall,
and he's like,
when he came home for the summer, he was like trying to detox out of that food. He's like, I don't know why I feel so bad. But for 2 weeks while he was, the first 2 weeks, I mean, he was not good.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny because I'm his dad, but it was also eye-opening to know that, wow, you're eating, but it's not maybe even food, it's just entertainment.
Yeah. Well, and it's filling your body.
Right.
It's filling your belly.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say satisfying hunger because it doesn't really, because that's why we eat. But,
that's right.
But it's amazing that they come home and go, maybe there's something to this whole thing.
Right.
But anyway, in that journal, I learned that grains are the most nutrient-dense food God's given us. They're storable, left whole and intact. They retain all the nutritional value. But to enjoy that nutritional value, they have to be freshly milled.
Right.
And all the components eaten together. So this led me on my journey, and the common diseases, I could see this makes sense. I could see it scientifically, and I could see it biblically.
Right.
And that was very important to me.
Over time, experimentally, I mean, I have stories of my kids
hundreds now
eating your bread, and for me, it's N equals 1. It's just my story, but you hear these all the time. So guys, if you're thinking to yourself, like one of my kids has a lot of histamine, a lot of allergy, and we started eating your bread. Actually, as a matter of fact, just recently we got a Great Pyrenees, which the name tells you the dog is going to be huge.
Yes.
So this dog is huge, but it also has a lot of fur, and apparently one of them is sort of allergic to it. And so we like, hey, let's double dive into making more bread, pancakes, and French toast. And it has helped. But of course, he's going to college soon. So he's like, I'll just go to college. We don't have to get rid of the dog. But it's interesting. There's many things that we have found in our own life, even with like some gut challenges for one of our boys, that this helps. So if you're interested in finding health in different ways, and you guys, if you're listening to me, you're interested in finding health different ways, not pills, not shots, eat real food.
Eat real food.
It doesn't get more real than you literally take the grains home, you have a grinder, you grind it, and then you make bread or whatever out of it, and voila. I mean, I make pancakes a lot because it's super easy. They're like, I want pancakes right now. And you're like, boom, in.
There.
Or we refreeze them and we pull them out, and they're like, okay, they're reheated, but they're just as good.
Yeah, so that opened my eyes, revolutionized my thinking. we bought a grain mill, and people may be going, a grain mill, what is that? It's a small kitchen appliance that sits on my kitchen counter, not in a barn and back, because when I first started doing this, I would take bread places and people go, I want your recipe. And I'm like, well, okay, but let me tell you, I mill my own grain to make this. And they go, you do what?
Right.
And so I'd have to repeat, that was the first question, you do what? The second question was always, where do you live? And I think they pictured this barn with a grist mill, you know, or the water wheel, you know, whatever. It's a small kitchen appliance. We bought that mill, came into our home in 1991. Brad actually gave it to me for my birthday. So guys, it's a good birthday present. And anyway.
Apparently a vacuum is not. So guys, don't do that.
Yeah, grain mill or the mixer.
The mixer, yeah, that's pretty good.
Then you've taken it up a notch there. But the mill came into our home. I made bread, and honestly, I thought it was going to be like the store-bought whole wheat flour.
Yeah.
But because of what I read, because of what I learned, I went, I don't care. We're never buying white flour again.
Yeah.
And if we have to choke this bread down, we're doing it.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. I couldn't believe it. I milled that flour. It smells so good when you mill it.
Oh, yeah.
I made bread, and it was the best bread I had ever eaten. No white flour, no white sugar, oil and honey, yeast and water. That's it. Boom. Next morning, made muffins and pancakes. Oh my gosh, they were so delicious with no white flour. The health of our family changed drastically, immediately, noticeably. I say our family, more me right away. And we were not the sickly type, but I had struggled with constipation. I had chronic sinus congestion. I lived on antihistamines. I was tired all the time, had headaches often, migraines every now and then. The first day, I made that bread, ate that bread, and I hate to be so graphic.
Yeah.
I'm not 13, but I pooped the next morning.
That's right. I'm going to tell you that, guys. So
that's
many of you guys in this gym, if you're in our gym, I know you, and you're protein eaters, and you eat a lot of protein, a lot of creatine, a lot of extra powders. That protein will get you, and I am telling you, we started, I mean, it was 2002, and then with all of our kids, so especially before they went to college, it was a staple, but it changes your bathroom experience in a great way. It's also awesome to eat, and it's yummy and all that stuff.
It's
but
delicious.
It takes all the stuff out of you, and it's crazy cleansing. So all you guys who do cleanse diets and all these things,
all they need to do is eat this bread.
I'm telling you, it is crazy.
So drink water.
It's interesting to think about your first experience. It's like, I'm cooking this or baking this, and I don't know what it's going to be like. Our first experience was probably somebody giving us a slice, and you like
going,
oh my gosh,
I gotta do this.
Yeah, and you I mean, it's hot. And you put butter on it and just fold it in half, and
nothing better.
Oh man,
there is nothing better.
So Verity, most of you guys know, she's my wife. She would make a loaf, and then immediately start making a second loaf right away, because we
were going to eat that.
We devoured it. Everyone like get out the butter and a glass of water, and we just go to town.
Yeah.
And instead of fighting us, she's like, fine, whatever, I'll just make more.
Yeah.
So then we all learned how to make it, and it's really so. It is not complicated to actually make your own bread.
It is not at all. And these days, most people have some type of mixer or a bread machine. They became so popular. And we sell, of course, all the equipment. We sell the grain mill, and we sell mixers. We sell bread machines, and all the grain and supplies, baking supplies and needs to make, help you learn how to make bread. But that was it for me. I mean, the constipation went away, the sinus congestion went away. You talked about your kids. And the buildup of toxins in your body, a lot of people don't make that connection, but your body's response to an overload of toxins is to make mucus so you can blow it out your nose or cough it up. I mean, what do we think that reaction is in a cold?
That's right. Get out.
A cold is not just snotty nose. It's that your body is trying to get rid of that.
Producing mucus to carry it out, because I need to get rid of the germs.
So now that I was eliminating every day the toxins in my body, all of that congestion went away. I had 5 young children at the time. I homeschooled my kids, so I was busy, and I was tired. The bread, all of a sudden, I had more energy. I no longer craved sweets, and people are always like, oh, if I eat this bread, it'll make me fat. No, it won't. It will actually calm those carbohydrate cravings, the wrong kinds, because you're getting this slow release of those sugars and that energy that you need.
Right.
And another thing you mentioned, your body, your CrossFit people, they're all into protein.
Yeah.
So many people don't realize that grains though they're in the carbohydrate family, they have lots of protein, like perfect plant protein. So you're getting the best of both worlds. They're the most nutrient dense food God has given us.
So on that protein slant, this is kind of like, it's a little segue, but you know me, I'm very tangential. So we have chickens, and several of the people in the gym are now raising their own chickens to get, like, I know my eggs, I know where they came from.
Yeah.
We've started feeding our eggs grains from your store. So they're
your
eating,
chickens.
to our chickens. And I did a spreadsheet so I could figure out the protein mix, right? So stop right there. I did a spreadsheet to figure out the protein mix from grains. So yeah, if you guys, it is a source. But here's what I would tell you, probably above and beyond all that. You guys know I've said this for a long time. If it has a drive-through window, it's entertainment.
Okay,
If you can take it out and it doesn't mold or the critters won't eat it, it's not actually food either. And I think your husband was telling me that you've got
a loaf of bread here that I bought as a visual aid for a class that I was teaching, and it's 100% whole grain, store-bought bread. It's 4 years old. It hasn't molded yet. And I had to buy that loaf 4 years ago to use as a visual aid because the loaf I had bought previously never molded. It simply disintegrated, like became like dust.
Right. So
like,
guys,
how is that? What is that?
Think about what she's saying.
Yeah.
And so
you're eating dust.
You're eating sawdust, something. So one of our other co-founders a long time ago, Dr. Eric, who has Health Sprout just down the street, he would pull out McDonald's and put it up on the counter, and you just watch it shrink, and the bread shrink, and nothing would eat it. So guys, I'm just going to say, if a roach won't eat it, it's probably nothing. It's not food. It's entertainment.
And if that meat doesn't spoil.
Oh my gosh.
Is it meat? Hate to admit this, but I found the leftovers of some type of fast food hamburger under my son's bed, where he had bought something, when they start driving.
We have sneakers.
And it never rotted. It never smelled.
Yeah.
I was simply cleaning and found this bag, and there it was. And I said, where did this come from? He's like, I don't know, a couple of months ago.
It wasn't me,
It never rotted.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It's not,
but anyway.
It's entertainment.
So,
that's why it's possible. It's plastic or something. I don't know what they're putting in it, but if the bugs won't eat it,
and if it won't rot,
something's wrong. So guys, she did mention, and this is important to know, because originally when Verity said, hey, we're going to start doing grain or making our own bread, I was thinking also like, how are we going to grind our own grain? Is it like me on a wheel going, right?
No.
Right. There's electricity, and weirdly they use it. So the grinder, the one that we've got right now, it comes in two different pieces. You can buy one that's just like, basically they're going to be about the size of a toaster oven or a small microwave.
Yeah, if that,
so they're not big. Mm-mm. And then the bread machine that we've got from you guys, it's got a bread kind of shell on the inside, and then you take that out with the bread, and you just gotta make sure you take the paddles out and don't eat the paddles as well.
Sure. Yeah,
you don't want to cut those. I've cut into those, and Verity was so mad. And then the bread machine itself is like another toaster oven. So you have two things the size of two toaster ovens.
Yeah.
And that's if you want to make bread. So I cheat, and I just
literally less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, you make it.
Load it to mill that flour, load it up the bread machine with the ingredients. Now, when my kids were home, I mostly used a mixer. We sell the finest mixer in the world here at Beckers. It's the Ankish Room. Because my kids, I went on to have 6, number 7, adopted 2, so we have 9. So we were eating 6 loaves of bread twice a week.
Wow.
I was making, so a nice big mixer was my lifesaver for me. I use a bread machine now a little more, that it's just Brad and I, but it literally, to load that mixer up to make 6 loaves of bread took me less than 10 minutes.
Right.
Now, then I did take it out, shape it, and bake it in my oven. But a bread machine, my goodness.
Yeah.
Dump it
Put it in there.
Come back later to a fully baked loaf of bread. And this one that we sell even has a time bake cycle.
I wrote that on their timer. That's my next note.
You can put it on at night before you go to bed and wake up with hot bread in the morning to the smell. Or today before you dash out to work or whatever. Right. So it's easy, it's doable, it's delicious.
Yeah.
It's the most healthy food God has given us. And, something for people that are exercising and training and into protein, what we have to remember is carbohydrates are our number one source that our body prefers for energy.
Yeah.
So you're burning energy, you need to put it back in there. And you don't want to do that with simple sugars. You want to do it with the carbohydrates. The fiber in grains is broken down more slowly. So you get this slow, steady release of carbohydrates instead of a high and then a drop low. So you just get this nice, I've got my energy, and it's just long lasting. So anyway, that's how we started, and I can tell you today, I've never looked back. I've never regretted. This was the single most important and effective, that's the main thing, life-changing nutritional decision that we made. You know, over the years, I know back in the 70s, you know, when I was reading all this, you know, brewer's yeast was a big thing. Oh, yeah. It's a great thing, but you know what? I took it, tasted nasty. They told me that if I mixed it up the night before, it would taste better. I don't know how it tasted the night before because it was disgusting the day I drank it. But I chugged it down. You know what? It did give me a little more energy because it's full of B vitamins, but didn't help my constipation. Didn't help my sinus congestion, and it was nasty. Right. So am I still doing that today? No, that lasted about 3 months. Right. And I'm like, yeah, this is gross, you know? And so there's things like that. Green drinks, there's a place for them, and those are great. But my kids are like, no, that looks like goose poop. You're not supposed to drink that. No. I would do it. You know, there's lots of things I would do. But I don't do any of those now. I just eat real food because I don't have to. The bread came into our house. My kids would eat it. I didn't have to coerce them. And the health of our family drastically improved overall. Like I said, we weren't sick people. But you know what? I used to get strep throat at least twice a year. You know, constipation, sinus congestion, I've told you. But that
ear infections, we would get those.
My kids would get ear infections. Not horribly, like a lot, but they still had it. My 2 youngest children that were conceived and born since milling our own grain and making our own bread, they've never had an ear infection. They've never had sinus congestion. They've never had an antihistamine or a decongestant of any kind in their life. And I just want to tell parents all over that 18-month-old to 2-year-old year, you know, and beyond, doesn't have to be known as the snotty nose years. They never had that. Never.
That is true.
So they were muscular. They were much stronger than my other children. At first I thought it was just genetics, but my first child that was born after bread, noticeably different. And I think my podcast producer, Tiffany, when I mentioned that, she was like, you know what? Yeah. I mean, when a newborn baby, my 7th child was the second one born after we began milling our own grain. So this is great for your exercising people to know this. Okay, my 6th child, let me back up to her. 4 days old. I'm across the room. My husband is reclined, and she is laying on his chest, face down. I watched her crawl up his chest. Dang. He was in a reclined position. 4 days old. Wow. My 7th child. So I thought, okay, that's just genetics. She's built. You know, my 7th child, totally different makeup. She was a little lighter, you know, not as heavy bone structure. But when she was born, she had swallowed some meconium. Okay. So they had to respirate her. She was screaming and screaming and screaming. So they lay her on me. I'm reclined in the bed. They lay her here on my chest, and she's kind of face down. Okay, she's all bundled up, but she's face down. They're still working on me. You know, it's just after birth. Just after birth. They're still working on me. The midwife says something to me, and my baby is screaming. They've laid her on my chest, screaming, screaming. They say something to me. I answer. As soon as this child hears my voice, she lifts up her head, turns it, and looks from a downward position, lifts her head and turns it and looks me in the eye and quits crying. First of all, crazy. She knew my voice. Right, of course. But the fact that she could lift her head like that from a downward position. Right. So let me just tell you, you want endurance, you want muscle strength. Right. The bread, the whole grains have vitamin E and all the B vitamins and the proteins that you need to build your body's strength. So guys, you just heard a story that makes no sense to you. Ask your girlfriend or your spouse what she's talking about. Ladies, you know what she just said is true, and you know how valuable and interesting that is. Tell
tell your significant other what that means for a baby to be able to lift her head or his head, whatever,
and never have the
4 days old or crawl
never
or whatever.
have the wobbly head.
Right.
And years before, I had read that in a biochemistry book that babies in America are born with wobbly heads because of the lack of vitamin E to strengthen their muscles.
Interesting.
Well, whole grains, richest
Fixes
food
that.
source of vitamin E that there is. So it's amazing.
Well,
I could go on.
We have several people, when I've talked to either people in the gym or even in the podcasts, that some of the reason they're doing this CrossFit is to be better either health for their family or their future family.
Yeah.
And so I've connected them with other ladies who've done CrossFit through their pregnancy to say, hey, give her some advice because I've never done that. But like talk to them.
Yeah.
This is another way for any of you guys, one, for your own personal health, but two, if you're looking to have a family, I would say come and check it out.
Yes.
At a very minimum, Brad Beckers offers classes where we're sitting in one of their cool classes. There's a mock kitchen up front. Well, I guess it's a real kitchen.
It's a real kitchen.
Yeah, so it's a real kitchen. It's in their warehouse, but their warehouse is all like our warehouse. It looks like our gym, except it's much nicer. And they will do classes for you on pretty much everything. I think the last class I heard was sourdough.
Yes, we did a sourdough class yesterday, but we do getting started classes. We do those once a month for sure. Maybe another one, a weekday one, but they're usually on Saturdays. I just did our newest toy. I don't know, our newest appliance and tool for preparedness. We now have freeze dryers, so we just did a freeze drying class. Amazing.
Yeah.
But we do pressure cooking, anything to help you get whole, real food, healthy food on your table as easy as possible, and to let you see how delicious and nutritious it is.
Yep.
And so if you come to a class, come hungry because we feed you the whole time
that's
you're
good
here.
too. Yeah. And so they can go online and look up your class schedule.
Yep. Breadbeckers.com. Yep.
Pretty hard to spell, right?
Bread like you eat, Beckers, not bakers, bread Beckers. Becker's our last name.
Yep.
Interestingly, it's the German roots, and it is the apprentice baker.
Oh, interesting.
The one that kept the communal ovens hot and clean and ready to bake bread.
That's awesome. I'll also put it in the show notes. If you guys want to click on a link.
Yeah, Bread Beckers.
It'll be down there.
Beckers.com. And we have a YouTube channel that has lots of classes and videos already on it. And then, of course, my podcast, Sue's Healthy Minutes. It's on any podcast platform.
Right.
Or you can go to our website if that's not your thing. But I imagine
if you're listening to a podcast, you'll listen to more. So I actually listened to Sue. So long time ago, we got your first testimony or the how you got into this on cassette.
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And so they don't exist anymore. Then we're like, we'll get some DVDs and pass them out. Of course, nobody has DVDs or CDs or whatever
CDs.
it is. Yeah.
Yep. Nope.
So then I was in here shopping for my chickens because I used all my grain. I'm like, I go back here and get some stuff. And I bought some things for the house. And I saw the note up front
about the
podcast. I'm like, what? You've got to be kidding me. So I've been listening for, I guess, 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Love it. I love the fact that we're both approaching health and fitness. So we do it from a different perspective. Yours is directly into the food. As you know, if you come to the gym, we're going to help you move. We do want to talk to you about food, but only when you're ready, because most people don't want to talk about their food. So,
but they don't realize that it goes hand in hand. I mean, we got to eat right, and you can't physically work out and strengthen your body if you're not giving it the right fuel that it needs.
That's right. So CrossFit is the secret to success in CrossFit is intensity. So we want to have constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity. If you want to have higher intensity, you must have energy stores. This is why most of us don't go on calorie deficits in the gym.
Right.
The other way you can do it is to increase the nutrient density of the food you eat.
Exactly.
So you had mentioned, so many of our guys count macros. So they're going to basically do something like it's 30% fats, 30% carbohydrates, 40% protein, or maybe it's 40% fats, I don't know. Anyway, they're going to count percentages and see what their food's made up of. Your bread has a different component to it than the store-bought bread. So you can't line them up.
Yeah.
The math isn't the same. You're just going to have to literally taste it to see it and believe it. It is awesome. So, guys, they're like maybe 5 minutes north of Woodstock, the downtown Woodstock. You can buy your mills. You can buy the bread machine itself. Put it in your house. It's going to take up very little counter space.
Yeah.
You can buy small buckets. You can buy big buckets. You can buy. I mean, it's incredibly easy. Just like we would do coaching, mentoring, and accountability. You walk into the store and her staff is going to walk you through it. Like, what do I buy first?
Yeah.
They're the expert. Just believe them, right?
Yes.
Buy what they say and then come to class.
Yes, but please know, you can't buy bread here.
No,
We teach you how to make bread for yourself.
Yes.
Because real bread is the key to good health.
And it's hard. So real bread will spoil.
Yes.
So you
The
make it
grains
and you
won't.
eat it.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
The grains won't.
Yeah.
And this is for any listeners out there that are interested in preparedness and
You could
food
store it.
storage. It stores.
Yeah.
It
What
is-
did they like? Found some grain in like a tomb in
Egypt. Yep, that was believed to be several thousand years old, and when they planted it, it grew.
Yeah.
And we went to Israel, and they had found date palm seeds in Masada
Oh.
that had been stored for
long
thousands
time,
of years.
yeah.
And they were so excited, and they planted them, and some of them have actually grown, and they're so excited because those are native to Israel.
Right.
Terrorists and destruction and bombings have killed their native date palms.
Interesting.
So these were
They
native.
can find them and bring them in.
And,
I think the only other food that doesn't spoil maybe is honey,
yes, as
which
far as I
is
know,
kind of
honey is
bee throw
the
up. So, I mean, it's
Yes,
great, but I mean, it is weird. So.
But it's perfect food, another perfect food. God gives us perfect foods.
Yeah.
But he gave us two kinds of foods. In Genesis, it tells us plants that bear fruit.
Sure.
That's your food. Those fruits and vegetables, they're wonderfully nutritious. Yes, you should be eating them,
Yeah.
but they rot and they spoil.
Yeah.
So the other kind of food he gave us was plants that bear seed
Sure.
for your food. So this was
Yeah.
fruit that has seed in it,
Yep.
but that's your food. But this is the seed.
Right.
Seeds are storable.
Yeah.
If they weren't, we wouldn't have
them
next
anymore.
year's crop,
Yeah.
you know. So God had to give us both so that we had food
Right.
all the time.
Sure.
So,
yeah. So you mentioned some other funny stuff that I'm gonna throw out there. So guys,
Okay.
there are some things like we recommend, like, hey, take your fish oil. So like the brewer's yeast, yes, you could do that. It's maybe not the best and it doesn't taste yummy. So fish oil, we do recommend it.
Yep, that's on my list of supplements.
It hurts though. Like if you burp
I
it up.
found one that
Yeah, you got to
doesn't.
find the ones that doesn't. So you got to
there's-
try them and test them out.
There's one, I just got it because every brand, I have so many bottles of fish oil that I'm just like, I can't do this.
Right.
No. And, but no, it's by a company that I love, AC Grace, and I don't
Okay.
usually promote brands and companies.
Hey, but if you can find one that doesn't burp up,
AC Grace
promote
has
it.
done extensive research on vitamin E.
Okay.
And so I love their unique E as their vitamin E, but they just came out with this omega-3 fish oil, and I've taken it 2 days and I haven't burped
No,
it yet.
oh, man.
It's amazing. So
Yeah.
AC Grace, it's their new omega-3 fish oil, and it has some vitamin E in it as well.
So if you can find one, and
Yeah.
sometimes people will say, if you find one that you can drink, it's not as burpy. For me, that's not true at all.
That's not true. And it's like, whoa.
I've tried everything, and
have to.
I am just so
And I've tried,
sensitive, I guess.
eating it at the,
Yeah.
taking it at the beginning, eating all my breakfast, and
It's still there
just,
2 hours
yeah,
later.
still- yeah.
It is good for you.
It is
But
good for you.
If you're not,
If you're not going to take it,
Yeah, it's not
my
good for
husband
you.
has a philosophy. If it doesn't taste good, it's not good for you.
There you
Because
go.
you're not going to eat
You're not gonna
it,
eat
and
it.
it's not going to do
Right.
a thing for you.
So
anyway.
one other fun thing, you were talking about how easy it is, and it just made me go down this memory road of we have tons of recipes, and I know you guys buy them too. You guys have the Red Book.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's really called. We would just all call
It's
it the Red
called
Book.
the Recipe Collection, and it's because it was when we first started our business, we were doing homeschool shows and places, and we were cooking, and people go, do you have a recipe for this? So I was like, well, yeah, I guess I need to. So at first it was just pages of,
Sure.
recipes. And then I was like, how about we put them together and compile it? And then other people sent me recipes over the years. So we compiled it, and it's probably in like 1994 or 5. And then we kind of revamped it and wrote some other things with it. So I think the one we have is from 2005.
Yeah.
But then in 2016, I was actually contacted by a publishing company. They got my name from somewhere and said,
How about that?
we want to write a book on flour milling. And we were told, and they were in Canada, we were told that you were the one to do it. So
I mean, Georgia, Canada, they're so close.
yeah, I know, right next door. So actually, it was in 2015. And he goes, but here's the deal. The deadline is September of 2015. So I cranked it out. So I have a published book called The
Okay.
Essential Homegrown Flour Book. Got lots of great nutritional information, how-tos and mill reviews and mixer reviews, and then over 100 recipes.
All right, I will link that in the show notes so that
Yep.
people can find it. You can click on it easily. I'll
Yep.
try to put it in the email I send out for
Yep.
my members as well. But the reason I bring that up is for years we would say like kids would be like, "Hey, Dad, can you go get the Red Book and make those cookies?"
Yeah.
I'm like, sure.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
it was just the Red Book.
Well, that's funny because just last night, one of my coworkers, and she's our ordering manager, and she was saying, we have my son-in-law worked for us for a while, and he is artistic, and she goes, he designed this beautiful cover with grains of wheat, but we never used it. And I'm like, well, at this point though, everybody just calls it the bread book, the red book. Now, yeah.
And so we've got particular pages folded over. So recently,
mine's all covered with honey stains. And
I'm not sure how, but Levi has decided that he's going to make cookies, and he probably makes a batch of cookies a day. And he comes up to me and he's like, Dad, I just made he makes a double batch. He makes a bunch of them, and the cookie spoons, and everybody in the house eats them, and any of their friends come over, they're all gobble them up. So he's like literally into that book, always flipped it open. I'm like, don't you know how to make it by now? He's like, I just got to follow the recipe.
I just want to make sure that they come out right. Don't want to, don't want to leave
undersalt them, oversalt them.
Yeah.
He likes to do it like I do. So I would make them slightly undercooked, so they're a little bit more gooey. And so he's like, I'm gonna keep doing that. But so guys, this is great stuff. I know you guys are interested in your health because you're here with us, or if you're listening, we've got, according to Buzzsprout, people in Canada, in Australia listening. I'm sure you can order stuff online and get it shipped to you. Making bread for yourself to increase the nutrient density, as well as I know where my food came from, is tremendous. I wouldn't say you have to go as far as I have, where I have chickens in my backyard so that I know what the eggs are like. Those eggs cost me like maybe $20 to $50 per egg. So if you see them at the gym, you're welcome to take them. You can donate to the farm if you want. But this is something you could do with very minimal space and a huge impact into your health. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And
it's actually more economical than buying bread from the store. And
I don't even know if it's bread, right? You can't even call it the same thing.
That's right.
I know
it's
so
it's dead. It's something. It's nasty.
It doesn't dissolve, and it's
I call it the toxic waste aisle of the But and then the thing. I mean, hundreds of testimonies. This is our 31st year in business.
Wow.
So 31 years. We've been in this building since 1999. We have hundreds of testimonies, and just this morning, I was talking to a lady, and she's come off all kinds of medication, and this is what we hear all of the time.
Yeah.
So
I like your disclaimer when you're like, hey, look, I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
But I say the same things. I'm not sure what you're allowed to say anymore these days. But anecdotally, I've been eating healthy and doing CrossFit for like 15-ish plus years.
Yeah.
I don't even have a primary doctor. I don't take any medicine.
Yep.
I went up a rope, legless rope climb. So take care of your health and fitness. If you invest in yourself now, the compound interest will pay off. And if you can invest in your children and they're non-wobbly head, like I'm gonna have babies, let's eat better and eat correctly.
Yeah.
You're giving them such a leg up, pun intended, to climb in life. And they didn't have to do anything. It's you.
Yeah.
And you're leading that destiny, that future.
And give them that foundation while you can.
Ooh, that's
because
a great word.
So building to college.
Building a firm foundation is our tagline here.
Yeah.
So we're going to give those kids in your family that foundation. Yeah. Yeah, it is rough when they go to college. They're like, Dad, can I just pack up some of it? Like, no, you cannot.
Oh, I would say, here, take a suitcase. And they're like, Mom, please. But yeah.
Maybe now that they're moving off of campus, when they're in the dorms, the room is like.
I got to tell you this story.
Yeah, bring it. Yeah,
we got close. But
no, we can go forever.
Oh no, yeah.
They're like, no.
No, I keep remembering it, and I'm like, I got to tell you this.
Yeah,
so
bring it.
My boys, and actually one of my daughters, but it was mostly my boys at first. They played paintball. They played it professionally, and I don't know if you've ever played paintball. If you've been shot by a paintball. But they would literally come home, with these sores, and if you get bunkered, so they call it pow, 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 pow. They would take their shirt off, and I would be like, ooh,
Leprosy.
Don't do that in public, because it looks like somebody
beat you.
When I was growing up, the cigarette lighters, they don't have those in the car. But it literally looked like someone just did this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope y'all, Anyway,
right.
But here's the funny thing. So my husband's at the field with them one day, and they played professionally. These are mostly teenage boys, young adults, maybe in their 20s, okay? Not really very observant for the most part. But one of them came to my husband and he said, is there something in this bread that causes wounds to heal? And my husband was like, well, yeah, probably. You're getting all the good B
because your
vitamins.
kids-
And he said, why? And he goes, because Joshua and David's wounds heal faster than any of ours.
That's
this
fascinating.
is a teenage boy.
Yeah.
And these are whelps, they're broken the skin.
Right.
And yet theirs are healing faster than others. And these boys noticed that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
is huge.
amazing.
It is.
And it's not just about what makes me think, and we have hundreds of wart stories. People's warts go away. Kids' warts go away.
Oh,
500 in 2.5 weeks that they've had for 5 years in a month.
Right.
What's that? It's not just that this has helped your warts go away or that your baby's head. If it is doing that, and so notice what else is it doing?
Yeah.
If it can make your body fight a virus that you've had for 5 years that has manifested with grotesque warts, and they all go away in a matter of weeks.
Right.
And this is the story I get. All I've changed is the bread.
Right.
Then what else is it doing? And what other viruses could it protect you from? What other muscle strength do you want to build? If it can help a baby not have wobbly head, what can it do for you that's actually already strengthening your muscles? So that's my takeaway is, wow, I've never seen any one nutritional change in my life make such a vast difference, and that I'm still doing 31 years later.
And I think that idea of the change inside of your body that shouldn't be understated is there is a lot of stuff in our intestines that just doesn't move.
Yeah.
And I am going to tell you with
this
one-on-one
it's
experience,
moving.
it will move everything.
Yeah.
And it shrinks you down because there's less stuff inside your intestines left just hanging out. So guys, this is great stuff.
Yep.
They're just up the road.
Come see us. We would love for you to come visit us.
And if I did say you're up the road, but you want to give them any more specific directions on how to get to you? Or
We're at 305 Bell Industrial Park. We are in an industrial park because we have to have a facility large enough to do what we do. And so don't be alarmed. We're not in a retail location. So
that's a very good point. Yeah, they're used to, we're in an industrial area. So if you're at the gym, when you drive up, you're like, there's probably a CrossFit gym back here. There's not, but the bread Beckers are back here.
So the industrial park is just north of downtown Woodstock, just north of Ridgewalk Parkway there. So just come on.
There's other stuff in the store too.
So, my goodness, yes. We sell
didn't even
every
touch
kind of grain or bean you can imagine. We sell raw honey. We sell other sweeteners that are less refined. We sell the yeast. We sell bakeware. We sell pressure cookers, mixers, mills, like I said, every kind of grain or bean you can imagine. Kefir, we teach you fermented food, yogurt makers. We're here. We're a kitchen store, a whole food store. We're the best kept secret in Woodstock.
Oh, yeah.
So come see us.
Yeah, very much. Guys, I would highly recommend it. This is what we do in our family. And if you're into moving towards health and fitness, which everyone should be, this is a step you should take and come try it out. At the very least, come to a class. Learn something, try it yourself. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you need us, we are here for you. Our website is CrossFitGarage.com. You know how to find me. It's Andy at CrossFitGarage.com. My phone number is actually on the website, so if you call or text, you're going to get me. Happy to talk to you. If you're interested in bread, you're like, I don't know how to start. Yes, you can call or talk to me, but really just come to the Bread Beckers, ask questions. Weirdly, they want you to be successful in this, and they will help you. All right, guys, you take care. Thank you, Sue, very much.